Welcome to the first session of the third arc of our Friday night game. This arc is entitled Souls and Swords, following up on the end of last arc, which concluded with the Choir of Blades for the Undying Winds portion of the arc. At the end of the last arc, it was learned after a conflict with a giant kin, who they learned the name of, Grun Stonechild, and his assistant, Shadow, the rogue mentor of one Ren Keen Eyes. After they escaped the conflict, they learned that there were 12 other weapons besides the remaining 7 rather, that were outside of their group, that are considered Esper Edges or Soul Swords. And they learned a bit about the nature of those blades in a limited amount of time, which was granted to them by the mysterious Arcanoloth, who graced their presence at the end of last arc. At the start of this arc, the group has already returned to Kurgosler Manor, and the retinue of Lord Kurgosler has made their way to sleep, and they have awakened during the next day. You should have already viewed your night. Some of them had dreams, some of them had conversations, what have you. But you awake in the morning. I would say that Villette and Ren would probably be up the earliest, and the guard contingent is beginning their switch for the day shift, and you hear what sounds like something very heavy, very kind of large, kind of being dragged out onto the deck outside. And you hear a couple of the guards kind of coordinate through yelling, trying to move something.
Should we go see what that is? And Villette moves to go check out the noise.
Sure. Looking outside, you can see that a couple of the soldiers for House Kurgosler have dragged what appears to be a large wooden crate on wooden kind of skiffs across the open yard on the stone path that leads up to the front door, and have kind of set it near the porch, the stone porch.
Do you need help with anything? What is this?
Huh? Oh, this was left here by the Lemon Caps. Said it was for Lord Kurgosler. Well, rather, Ren Keen Eyes, care of Lord Kurgosler.
Is this out of character? Does this look like a car-sized box?
No.
Okay.
It's pretty big.
Wait a second. Sorry.
Side
question really quickly.
Shoot, go ahead.
Did we level up last time? Because if so,
Should be level 10.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot to level some stuff up then.
Yep, I didn't post a reminder about it in there, but everybody go ahead and, if you haven't, please do that real quick. That said, though, back to Tim. You do notice 3 things about the box. It's pretty big. It's not like hugely massive, but it appears to be light enough that 2 people can kind of carry it with some effort, like kind of dragging it, lifting it, and a couple of steps thereon. And it's probably maybe 3 by 3, like cube, wooden box. And from what you can tell, it looks like some kind of black ichor or something has kind of dripped out the side of the box. And it also looks like it's kind of followed them in spurts when they kind of drop the box down when they're lifting it, and like shuffling, and then like taking a breather for a second. You guys have moved. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Sure. So if there's a giant cake in that box, Ren doesn't want to eat it now.
yeah, it's probably not delicious.
Well,
Damn it.
I will go. Did Andy? Did Ren come out with Villette, or did he
Nope.
stay inside?
I was inside still.
It does also look like there's a manila envelope kind of tacked on to the top of the box.
Well, I guess I will bring him this, and I'm sure it's good to stay where it is for now. One moment. And I grab the middle envelope and bring it in the Ren.
Yep.
Ren, the Yellow Caps have delivered a decently sized box for you. There's some weird black ichor leaking out of it.
Oh, gross.
And I
I would
hand you the
open
manila
up the envelope. Yeah.
Okay.
Wipe it.
The envelope has a seal on the cover of it. Looking at it, and it's appears to be the Department of Skyrails, Trolleys, and Freeways. And as you kind of start to open up the folder, you realize that it's a court document with a formal statement of that enclosed and what appears to be a bill in the back end. And it states, "Dear Ren Keen Eyes, the included contents of this parcel are the remains of your auto carriage. They have stayed in our impound lot in in Bearport for the better part of 6 days. The enclosed is the cost of maintaining and holding the aforementioned contents and the transportation of the contents to your abode. Additionally, the clerical work required to find your current location for the correct deposit of the article in question.
I mean, we were just saving the world and all.
Please submit payment in full by the end of the month that you're in."
Okay.
Look at the bill, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 572.
What?
Pieces.
Oh boy.
That sounds about right.
Gilbert.
Gilbert, you're laying in bed, kind of looking up at the ceiling, hearing noise outside. About this time, Broxgar, you're probably making your way downstairs, or making your way out into the open thoroughfare from the library, getting up out of your comfy chair, because they're making a lot of noise just nearby. Makes it a bit hard to sleep. But you can see outside there's a box. Vrack, you probably slept somewhere downstairs. Same. They're not really able to kind of keep you. Yeah, and Sam, you probably found a place upstairs since all the gnomes moved out and found a good place to sleep. Oh wait, no, sorry, downstairs.
Yeah, I would like to also say Sam would wake up probably in a bit of a cold sweat, and yeah.
Yeah, you're downstairs. I apologize. You slept in the basement.
Either way, cold sweat.
Yep.
I don't know. I would more or less just kind of grab a quick bite to eat out of the kitchen and wander out the door.
So you're surprised to see that the gnome attendants that were in the kitchen have remained. And one of them comes out to you and hands you 3 things. What appears to be a tin cup of some sort of juice, squash, a pastry of some sort, and a bit of bacon.
Right on. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. And then?
I'm on the go, so I'll just eat it as I'm walking. And I'm just going to wander, go for a walk, go to Stonechild Park.
Okay.
That's my interest.
As you're kind of stepping out into the main hall, Gilbert, you came downstairs, you said, right?
Yeah, I'll come downstairs.
You see Broxgar has a bit of food. It looks like he also has his pack from traveling, and it looks like he's heading towards the door. You see Ren kind of staring with his mouth slightly agape, kind of at this, what appears to be an official document. And you see Vrack kind of like rubbing his face, walking past Broxgar, who appears to be endowed with some delicious looking food.
Good morning, Gilbert.
Good morning, Brox. How'd you sleep?
Sorry, real quick, you returned back outside, yeah? To the box?
Oh, I was like with Ren, like waiting to see what he.
So yeah, you're just watching in confusion as Ren stares at the paper in horror.
Not well. I was troubled in my sleep last. I dreamt of Stonechild Park. I was actually on my way just to go for a walk past there this morning. Check
Wait, you told me you had a dream about a place too there, brother.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very vivid.
Well, Stonechild Park ain't that far, is it?
Now, sir, would you like to join me? Vrak?
I need those things, pointing at the food, and I need to void a bowel movement. Then I'm gonna do that, brother.
You hear a
Alright.
large crashing sound from outside. It sounds like wood splintering and breaking apart, and then a kind of loud metallic thud of metal hitting stone. Broxgar very familiar with this sound.
I don't think they left it where I told them to.
And what might that be there, robot brother?
Some large box for Ren from the Yellow Caps, apparently.
I like
Be
large boxes.
Ren, did the envelope say what was inside?
Yes, it did.
The door's open, so you can kind of see what's happened. It looks like two pieces of the box have actually been like knocked out by the weight inside of the box shifting, and them kind of jostling the box, kind of breaking the that main strut, support strut in the center of those two sides. It looks like a engine block, and a couple of pieces of like exterior sheeting of the auto carriage have splayed out onto the ground. Oil's kind of splashed out of it as well, and it's just laying there on the ground. Here.
This one of them fancy dancy elf art sculpture thingies there, pointy ear brother.
You muted in.
You're muted, Andy.
Was Vrak around when it got destroyed?
No, he was not.
Yet, Lauren.
That was-
I don't know anything about the car.
Shit. I would say, well, friend, you missed quite a scene there. We were in that car and it was getting shot to shit.
I just want to kind of gander at the engine while it's splayed out there. Is it still, are the parts still useful? Could you get anything out of it?
Make a research check.
You can get a useful pile of scrap out of this.
Yeah.
Motorized.
Not
But
bad.
So not too far away, you can see the tower that teleported you back to Kurgazler's manor, and the horse that was summoned by Gilbert has long since dissipated, but the mechanical horse that Vallette kind of summons is still kind of grazing around outside robotically. But also, you can see that the bicycle is sitting there as well, and as you're kind of looking at the engine and looking at the bicycle, you're pretty sure that if you replace the seat up on the front or effectively create a center manifold with some work, you can probably make that bike automatic.
Ooh. I could use that, Ren, if you'd have no need for it.
Well, would it be able to carry more people? Can you put a sidecar on it?
Perhaps I could put a few sidecars on. I mean, it's worth trying.
Sure.
I appreciate that.
There is the matter. I would say there is the matter of the money that I owe. I would look to Gilbert. Perhaps you could help us with that.
Wow, when I saw you this morning, you had that look on your face. I've known you long enough.
The look
to
for
know when you're going to be asking me for money. And you know what?
right.
I think for the sake of your own good, you should probably find a way to raise this money on your own.
Oh
I feel
no!
like I'm enabling you guys here. I mean, you're my friends, and I give you loans and stuff, but this is
Kevin,
a lot.
this
I
is
think
your
So we
opportunity.
were driving
Wait,
together
wait.
for a group.
Well, real quick, Kevin, this is a great opportunity for you to broach the idea of the group being named the Champions of Kurgazler.
Oh, that's true.
Say,
That's
Never
true.
mind.
wink.
Never mind.
Fuck
it's
that
not worth it.
noise.
We're already called the company of.
I'd rather have
Kurgazler.
Brock deadlift that engine and drop it on my face.
Yeah. No,
Huh.
actually, Ren, I think we can make an agreement here. Don't worry, we'll work something out. I just think it's kind of crazy, you know. But you know, everybody has a friend like you, so I just have 5 of them.
There you go. Where would you be without us, Gilbert? Where would you be without us?
Well, gosh. Where do we start? Stone Child Park. It was funny that Brox mentioned that when I came down here this morning. But that was where it all started.
Sam, you're sitting there quietly in the under in the basement at basically a wooden table with wooden benches kind of attached to it. Um, if you're into drinking, you probably have partaken in the wine that's down there. I don't know if that's something you would have done, but you're kind of looking around the room, having just woken up, and you can see that the door that leads right outside, not the one that goes upstairs, is slightly ajar. And sitting at the foot of the steps there is a gray cat with a stubby little tail, and a cute little white, front chest, kind of looking at you. You can kind of tell that the little stub of a tail is just kind of going.
Yeah. I just look at the cat and be like, "The fuck do you want?"
It replies. And then as you kind of stare at him, Henry kind of stirs up the steps and heads outside.
Fucking cat.
All right.
I'm following the fucking thing.
You see the tower again. It's just there.
I've seen it here before, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I knew it was here.
It's
Yeah.
And it's still here. In fact, if you recall from your notes, you actually mapped out the entirety of the path that can be gone to. But yeah. Good note?
Yeah, I open up the door and I go inside of it, and I'll get back to you about what I'm doing in there.
Okay. The cat will go inside with you and kind of just pop a spot near you every so often as you're kind of, just researching and looking at what you're doing. The cat will kind of focus in on what you're doing as well. The old woman who resides in this tower doesn't come downstairs from the upstairs unless directly approached. But yeah. Cool. I'll say that that's about the time that Brox, you've kind of come to the epiphany of Robobike, and you see Sam kind of walk out the side of the house and head over to that tower and enter in.
I wonder what Sam's doing over there since everybody else is standing around me.
Shall we go see how his night went?
Sure, this is awfully coincidental.
So I guess a few of us at least walk over to the tower.
Sure.
Go see what Sam's doing.
Broxgar and Bullet, it sounded like. Okay. Does anybody want to do anything outside of that? Like, Ren, do you have plans for the day? Gilbert, do you have plans for the day?
Yeah, I need to talk to some of my assistants and just ask them to do some stuff.
Okay. So organizing the household.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you can get them to move the box into a workshop type area.
Wait, did you break your hands last episode?
What do you mean?
He means do it yourself, bitch.
What do you
mean?
is you probably
I
need to
still don't know
ask-
what you mean, Brack. No idea what you're talking about.
Ask Brack to move it. He's stronger than crap.
He's really
You
strong.
know?
So you do see
Really
that the
strong.
two soldiers have been having some issue kind of lifting this box, Brock, and the contents. You do notice that there are two pretty sizable holes on the side of the engine, or on the top of the engine, that you think you could probably pick it up. It's not massive in its own right. It's probably 2 feet long and probably about 1.5 feet side to side. It's probably a good foot tall. Like, I guess the best, it's like a V4, like it's a tiny engine.
All right, I am gonna watch them struggle for a little bit longer, but once I feel like they've had enough of their own attempts, I'm gonna go and grab it.
You hear them cursing, kind of like, what the fuck is this thing made out of? Is it solid steel? And they're just trying and struggling. And you come over and go ahead and make an athletics check to see if you can heft it with no problem. I mean, you'll be able to lift it because of your lift capacity, but just the form.
Wow.
You kind
Oh
of
well.
take a couple of seconds with that 11 and kind of, get a hold of it. Your first lift, you're thinking you're just going to, but it weighs a shit ton. Like, it's probably got a good 500 pounds in that little frame on its own. And you kind of look at them like, yeah. And then you kind of lift it up and kind of just, are kind of having some issues moving it. But they kind of direct you to where, where it's going to go, which would be the side house where the gnomes were staying before.
I mean,
Thank God
to
I
be fair,
didn't
it's not
roll
like
a
they
one.
can lift.
Yeah, it wasn't embarrassing. It was just not as graceful as you did.
I just rolled a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright, then I'm just gonna see if they can open doors and point me in the direction.
Yep.
I got nothing better to do since we're not going to the park anymore.
You move the engine over that way, and they grab a couple of the sheets of the exterior and kind of move it over that way. It definitely doesn't look like it'd be the full frame of the thing, so you're pretty sure that some pieces might have gotten taken away. You're pretty sure that the pieces that remain were the things that couldn't be lifted easily, and the pieces that didn't look like they had much worth.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There's no one with me now, right?
No other party members, no.
Good.
The rest of the group, you guys went to go speak to Sam in the tower, Brox and Villette. Villette, you can see that he kind of sits down and is going over what appears to be paperwork. What do you do?
Actually, I would actually go over to the area with the
The symbol.
teleportation. Yeah, the symbol, and I'm sort of staring at it.
Okay. You would know that it would take about 10 minutes to convert it from one pathway to another.
Thinking of going somewhere, Sam?
No,
How did you sleep?
fine.
What's on your mind? How are you
Thoughts.
processing yesterday?
What happened yesterday?
The whole espers and the anti-swords and...
Right, that. Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Anything you want to share with us that we might be able to help you with?
No.
Okay then.
It was very peculiar last night. I had a dream about the half giant or giant that we saw. He was quite large for a half giant.
Did you?
I did. It's troubling me. I can't get it out of my mind. I saw him battling a dwarven priest of Belwendar. And it seemed that the priest turned him to stone, but may have lost his life in combat with the giant. And it was very odd because it was the exact same position he was standing at the statue in Stonechild. That's why I was so interested in checking it out this morning. I just can't get it out of my head. What do you think? I'm not into sorcery and all this weird stuff.
I mean, might be possible.
Do you seek to go check the base where he used to stand?
I don't think I'll find anything in particular. I'm just looking for some sort of perspective, clarity. Maybe it was from an age past. Maybe I was seeing a vision of the past. I really don't.
If it was the same pose, then perhaps that's where the battle took place. For it seems that the statue was him who we fought. If you want company, I will join you.
Yeah, absolutely. Vrak was interested in coming as well. If you don't mind.
Not at
Right,
all.
well, I won't keep you. And Sam just turns around and starts staring at the circle again.
You see Brock and the two soldiers who were dragging the crate at this point opening up the doors to the side house where the gnomes were staying, and Brock's kind of like lifting it into that chamber.
Makes it look easy.
He doesn't actually look like he's making it look easy. It is one person lifting it, but he does look like he's having a bit of an effort.
Maybe he woke up with a stiff back.
You just throw that wherever, Vac. Be careful with it, though. We'll use it to upgrade the... I think we should head to the park if you're still interested.
I suppose. I was gonna see if I could inquire about some things I gone seen in my dreams there too.
What is it that you saw?
There's this lady brother, like murdered. Well, I suppose I don't know if there were lots of them, but I definitely seen her murder a baby brother, like a little baby, you know.
That's not a very good dream at all.
What did she look like?
To my notes.
Make a make a wisdom perception check, Brian.
8.
Okay, go ahead with your notes.
Do you? See, just a lady brother. I couldn't see her, but she sounded, like a lady brother, and she's with some green dragons, and I feel like them green dragons gonna be easier to find.
Yes.
But I do know that grove that I done seen. Mm-hmm. I don't know what this voice is turning into, brother. It's going places.
By grove that you recognize, do you mean from where you grew up?
Yes, right?
Yeah, the Forbidden Grove,
Yeah.
the one with the white trees that we mentioned, but you never went to.
Yeah. So, there.
Well, it seems like we possibly discussed going there first anyway to deal with these other blades, so maybe we can figure something out there once we head out of the city.
Park's closer.
Exactly, yes. I agree. That should be our
Brack
first
starts
order of
walking.
Okay.
Did you want to get some food first, Vrack?
Oh, yeah.
They got bacon in there.
That was in character. Oh, yeah. Turns around and, walks back into the house.
Blood actually follows him because she's curious what this might taste like.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's tasty enough. I mean, it serves the pastry or bread. It's kind of just like a sweet bread. The bacon's just lightly feels like it might have some sort of honey in it that it was fried with, and yeah, the juice or squash appears to be some sort of citrus drink.
This is so good, Vrack. Food tastes so good.
It's pretty great.
I know. Been doing it for years there, lady brother.
All right, Ren and Kurgosler, as you're doing your house stuff, are you going to basically give him the amount in a writ and have that sent forward to the courts to be dealt with? Or are you going to deal with that later?
No, I'd like to walk over to him and as he asks me for the money, ask him, could I have that? Could I look at that paperwork?
Sure.
He hands it to me. I look at it and I'm like, this is just bureaucratic bullshit. You have to know how to deal with this. Now, we could probably get this reduced.
Gain inspiration.
We could probably.
Gain inspiration.
I got it.
Okay.
We could probably reduce this to 0, but we don't have time to sit around and talk to a judge. That's bullshit. So I'll have some of my people get this reduced at least to half price, and then I'll pay for it, and then we'll talk about you pay me back later. Kayla, Kayla is my
Moving
tailor
and
usually,
shake.
but I'll be like, Kayla, be a peach, and could you clean up this black
Be a
shit that
peach.
they got all over my house?
Yeah, you got
And
it.
Rolf is my gnome ambassador. I'd be like, I need to get a couple things. I need to get like a really nice, like kind of like a bird bath, but more like a sculpture that you could put water inside.
A basin?
Yeah, a basin, exactly. I
Yeah.
need one of those, and it has to be at least 1,000 gold pieces.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
you know, has to
Wow.
be nice, fancy.
Rolf
Has to be
kinda
real fancy.
nods. Yeah. Okay. Well, strange that you ask. I think. Let me check some things out, and he kind of wanders off.
Okay.
John,
so-
at this point, Sam would probably come into the house, actually specifically looking for Gilbert.
You see Gilbert basically in the main room, basically calling people to him and then ordering them around. And he's not hard to find.
Gilbert,
Great. You,
Sam?
come.
What's going on?
We need to check something out. Come on.
All
Ren,
right.
you can. He turns around and as he's walking away, Ren, you can come too if you want.
Meanwhile, outside in the world, Brack, Brox, and Valette, you guys are kind of walking out of the estate and kind of moving out onto the main road. There are, of course, 3 methods for you to transport yourselves from here to Stonechild Park. There is, of course, the trolley, sky rails, or by foot. How would you like to proceed?
Well, we also have the bicycle and a horse, right?
Bicycles outside, but yeah, you can go grab it and use it.
Yeah, I like it when Rack pedals and I ride.
All right, you guys ride
Some bitch.
and head over to Stonechild Park.
Mold.
You're definitely looked at a lot. Riding on a mechanical horse isn't as uncommon, but the strange contraption does appear to be. Yeah, you make your way on back that way. All right. You arrive. It's just as you remember it, and yeah, it's Stonechild Park.
Well,
John's a stone child.
just let me check it out. I'm gonna try to just think back and look around, think back to everything that was going on. The dwarven priest, you know, what I could remember about him specifically.
As you
Try to envision.
as you approach and are kind of looking around, you guys are kind of staring off, and you see, the dais. You kind of see the sky for what it is. Looks like it might be about the same time of day as it was in your vision, and you're kind of looking around, interested. The dais, of course, is empty. There is no statue upon it, and as you're kind of looking around, Brock, you specifically, being keen of eye, see that there's a dwarf kind of sitting up on the high point that kind of overlooks the statue area. If I recall correctly, a couple of you hid in that specific area when you were preparing to ambush Lord Kurgosler. And you
Not
see
with
that.
this character.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
I said a couple of you. Two precisely. And you can see that he is kind of sitting on what appears to be a bench with a easel out in front of him. And it looks like he has a piece of charcoal that he's kind of moving across what appears to be a large canvas.
It's quite interesting.
I will approach the dwarf. Good morning, sir. How
What do you want?
how does the day find you?
Yeah, it's fucking shit. Last couple of days have been garbage. Fuck. This whole 6 days, just a bunch of shit.
I hear you. It's been rather rough for me as well.
Yeah, fucking sure, yeah. And he just angrily continues just drawing at the charcoal.
Do you mind if I take a look at your work?
He stops. He kind of moves over to his bag, just like gesturing towards the thing, not really concerned about it, and goes to his bag. You see him rustle around for a bit, and then pull out what appears to be like a metal canister, and start unscrewing the top, and then start sipping from it. Yeah, whatever.
The what?
He says, "Yeah, whatever," and you kind of look over
Oh.
at what he's working.
I thought you said the owner. I'm like, huh?
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, I heard
Okay,
the
thank
owner
you.
also.
But he says, "Whatever." Sorry, I apologize. Maybe I had my hand in front of my face. He says, "Whatever."
I also kind of want to peek while Valette is and pull my flask out and take it.
So
Okay.
I take a look at the drawing. Is it basically him just sketching out the landscape Sansa statue?
Nope.
Oh.
Looks like he has got 3 different designs. One has basically been kind of scratched out, and the other looks very similar to the statue, but just basically like the wireframe of it. It looks like he's kind of redrawing it, kind of looking over to it. You see next to the easel, kind of like placed up against the side of the bench, is a couple of paintings, and it looks like one of them has a hole punched through it.
Are you looking to design a replacement for the statue that was here?
No. Just because I'm a dwarf, you think I work with stone?
Not at all. It just your drawings just made me think that it looks like you were designing something that go on that where the altar is, the dais.
A couple of days ago, I was invested in and commissioned to paint a fine painting of the Stone Child statue. And he lifts up the one with a hole in it, and you can see that he's just punched a hole through it because he started. I elected to trace and draw a bit of the statue on a couple of pieces, trying to get the right lighting, and I finally found the perfect position here. Not a 6th day or so ago. And then what do you know, the fucking statue disappears. He throws the easel with the hole in it, sips very largely of whatever's in his thing, screws the thing shut, stops screwing about halfway through, unscrews it, and continues drinking, then screws it back shut, and then looks at you.
Would it help to have a model possibly to presume the position that it was, to help at least the imagination fill in the gaps?
Yeah, if it's a huge giant kin, sure.
One moment. I walk over to... I don't know where Vlet's coming with this, but she's just feeling awfully helpful this morning. She goes over to Vrak.
Vrak is 5 foot something.
Vrak, I don't know why, but I felt like helping out this person. Would you mind climbing on my shoulders and holding your sword out so that he might have somewhat of a likeness of the statue for his illustrations?
Vrak, make an intelligence check. Yeah, that sounds like the dumbest idea ever.
Did you see the statue that was there before there, brother?
Yes.
And, was that statue a construct with a half-orc on his shoulders holding a sword out?
No.
Then I'd like you to explain there one more time how me climbing on you and holding my sword out is gonna help him paint the statue.
It wouldn't.
Alright.
I just want to do as much good as possible to help others.
I think you would successfully, look foolish there, lady.
I mean, what else? That isn't new, though.
Just trying to help.
Alright. Anything else?
Oh, God, no.
Drac, Brax, what are you looking for? Is there anything we can help with?
I don't think there's anything in particular I can find.
As as you're kind of standing in this space, though, the visions are coming back to you. You're kind of seeing it very clearly. You can definitely kind of just envision the whole circumstance. And the thing that kind of traps in your mind, the thing that kind of locks in your head, um, is kind of like the last dying breath of the dwarf, and just the look, the pained look of the statue, of the petrified giant kind of held there aloft. It's just locked temporally there. You can kind of feel this strange sense of envy in the giant's eyes as it's locked and encased in this stone, like it desired not to be.
Remember, in my dream, the dwarf spoke his final word, said that others will seek the evil within that half-giant to protect this place. I think Stone Child Park in particular, I don't think we've done a very good job of protecting it, so that whatever evil he holds is free. I don't know. Still very troubled.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to do?
Vlad
With
just sort of
my survival skills, can I pick up anything? Any tracks? Any?
Well, you already tracked him, the giant, out of here. Yeah. The vision that
We
you
can.
had, you're kind of thinking about it. It probably did happen at the onset of the half giant being encased in stone. But yeah, I mean, you can just visualize that scene, like it's locked in your head, like picturesque in your mind. Okay, if you have nothing else to do, you guys have anything else you want to do there?
Not unless you want to follow the
does the-
tracks.
Does the dice have words on it? I know that's a silly question to ask at this point, but
It does.
there's no like story or anything behind this. Was it like maybe I could get the priest's name?
It does. And it states that the statue was constructed by an individual named Retold Oakhorn. And you're familiar enough with the Oakhorns. They're also another Dwarvish family that moved from Stormloft to here, as many of the Dwarvish kings after the Pod War did. It looks like someone took credit for the statue's creation.
That is most interesting. Well, that's something.
It does also mention that the statue is of Grun Stonechild, saver of orphans, defeater of evil, mountain and bulwark against the dark.
Crazy. Perhaps if I track down this oak one,
You hear
I might get more answers.
and then you hear a snapping of charcoal and a slamming down of something. Another ruffle through a pack and a pulling out of a metal thing, unscrewing, and loud sipping and a coming from across the way.
Yeah, we're going that way, right?
Yeah, you go back over to the guy, the painter, the door painter.
Friend, brother dwarf, do you happen to know where the Oakhorns stay around here?
This is a fucking joke. I'm an Oakhorn.
Oh, and do you know Rick Cobb?
Yeah, he was my father.
Is he still with us?
No, he's long since dead. I'm retired Oakhorn.
It's nice to meet you, retired. I'm Brockscar Blazehead.
Blaze Hatchet, huh?
Hi.
Blaze Hatchets. Well, you've given me a smile on this shitty fucking morning. Ugh.
I understand that your father sculpted the original statue that you're intending to paint. Is that true?
That's accurate. And unfortunately, the statue seems to have disappeared. And I can't remember how he was posed. I can't remember the way his face looked. My sketches aren't detailed enough. And my commission will be forfeit.
I remember it quite well, and I'll try to explain it as best as I can. The position that the giant was locked in.
Okay. Go ahead and make me just an intelligence check.
It's got 12.
You've done some drafting work, and you can do kind of technical drawings. You spend a little bit of time with him and see like where his poses are, and can kind of tell which one's the closest. And you ask him to borrow his charcoal and kind of help him through it. And he kind of looks at you and he says, "Yeah, that's fine. Great. Thank you. If what you say is true. I just can't remember his face." And I want you to go ahead and make me a charisma check. I know it's not the best for you.
14.
You kind of sit there with him for a while, talking about it in Dwarvish, using the nuance of the language and kind of moving through the drawing of it. And eventually the two of you finally draw the face of Stonechild, locked with this look of just
Envy.
envious desire to just take the freedom that was being ripped from him, take it away from that who punished him with it. And Retide kind of looks at you. Retide kind of looks at you and says, "That's it. Amazing. Amazing." He kind of looks at the painting that he busted a hole through and says, "Fuck. Yeah,
You do your father a great honor with this work of art, my friend. It is truly a masterpiece. The dwarven craft.
He wasn't a sculptor.
Who, your father?
No, he wasn't a sculptor.
What was it?
He was a warrior, a fighter. And,
A priest of Beldendar.
he's still speaking in Dwarvish. He says, No. That was Blaze Gavel. Cousin of your house, I believe.
Yes, indeed. Hell yeah.
It was.
I didn't recognize. Well,
He says, the two of them were associates of a great hero, Grun Stonechild. And this is a story that's known only to my house, but he was possessed with a great darkness, an evil bestowed upon him by some manner of demon from the wastes of Vitali, and it consumed him. In the end, he turned against friend. He desired the powers that Priest Blaze Gavel had for his own.
I believe your story, Retired. For I've seen the demons. I've seen their faces. Not all of them, but a few.
I don't know why I told you that just now. No one outside of our family knows the truth of it. But after the statue moved away, I heard reports. I heard stories down at the tavern. I live over in the garbage pail. And a lot of folks talk. A lot of people are scared of things that have been traveling around. What with all of those gang fights that were happening not too long ago. Between the White Masks and the other ones.
We know nothing of this. Thank you. Goodbye.
But yeah, this is my livelihood. My dad wasn't an artist, but because everybody thought he was, I felt it was necessary to honor that tradition, make something for the Oakhorns, because all we were was mercenaries before. Ritkov had a purpose when he walked alongside that, when he walked with his friends.
All the same, I did 100% meant what I said. Truly, this is a dwarven. Your art is unparalleled.
Well, I gotta get back to it. I'm so glad that Angum himself sent you to help me with my craft.
Bless you, brother. Have a great day.
Aye. And may Throlf find you at night. Smiles. And
That's what she said.
gets back to work. He just means have a party later on. It's kind of a dwarvish saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he gets to work. Looks like he's very, very content. All right, moving back to the other side of the world. Sam, you were doing something with Gilbert and Ren?
Right. So, I would walk back into the tower, and I would start reshaping the portal. And I'm going to send you in a message the one that I'm reshaping it for. And I would just start. Yeah, honestly, that's the first thing that Sam would do. He'd just start doing that. And I kind of want to see how the others react.
Gilbert would be like, "Hey Sam, what are you doing? Don't we want to get the rest of the people before we teleport somewhere and make a plan?"
Listen,
We're the people.
Yeah, the rest of the people. You're the people.
I don't think we'll need them for this, probably. Stuff needs to... And it might be... So we're going.
What? What?
Does that make sense?
Ren is
to you,
like,
Ren?
there's words missing from what you just said.
Right.
As you're kind of doing that, just out of nowhere, Gilbert, something lands on your shoulder, very soft, very comfortable, but just out of nowhere, kind of surprising. Do you freak out and like try to shrug it off, or do you just check it out and see what it is?
I'd probably freak out a little bit. Be like, "What the hell?"
It hops off of you at your reaction, kind of hits the ground, kind of looking up at you, but it's that gray cat with the bobtail looking up at you.
Was this named Henry? Do you remember, Ren?
It was Henry.
Henry, aha. I guess I would reach my hand down, kind of like in a cup, see if it would smell my hand.
Kind of smells a little bit. Kind of nuzzles your fingers.
Try to, like...
He digs the chin scrunching.
You know, like scritch it under the neck.
He loves it. It's his
He loves it.
favorite.
He's starting to purr.
Then he kind of like hops back up onto the table and then hops back up onto your shoulder.
I'd be like, "It's funny that you were the cause of all our shenanigans."
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Right, as you're kind of looking at the gnome with the cat on his shoulder, you're kind of like, is this something that all Kurgozlers do?
Mm-hmm.
And Sam continues etching at the floor.
Yeah, Sam's muttering stuff under his breath, and you randomly hear just occasional words that he says loud, like the clouds, fucking time past moon, and shit.
Does he occasionally hear the word umbra? Does he go? Is that one?
No, we don't get that far.
Right.
That's just
fair enough. Fair enough. They don't know anything. So yeah, where are you
Should
going?
we hang around him?
Where are you
Should
going?
we hang around him, Ren?
What?
Is
I
the door
messaged
closed?
you which one I was looking at.
Oh.
I figured that might be the one that has the most potential for research.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
out of the ones that are around.
Takes you about 10 minutes to redraft the portal wall or the portal shell. The door is still open, by the way. The door has not been closed. And looking at the door, you realize that if the door were to be shut, it might be a problem.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on closing the door.
No, I'm just making sure the others remember what happened last time.
Ah, right.
What would Valette do? Do the opposite.
Do the opposite.
Right. So, let's go.
Where?
It's a lab. We'll be fine.
Why?
I hope
Where
you
are
know
we
what
going?
you're doing, Sam.
Books. There'll be books there.
Okay.
Oh,
I like
okay.
books.
Now I see why it's not important to bring the others. But you know what? I have to say, Blaze Hatchet, he does lots of reading. He might be really cut out for this type of stuff.
Very true.
Rockstar. Yeah, that's kind of him.
Right. Well,
We'll
he
catch
can come
him up.
later. So yeah.
So anyway, you finish it and you're going in.
That is the plan.
All right. Who's going with?
I'll go with him.
All right, Ren.
You going, Ren?
I mean,
Where are we going? Where are we going?
I already told you, a lab.
Books.
What plane? Upon what plane are we going? Where are we?
It's color coordinated. It's still blue.
Fine, I'll go.
If you parked your car with as much care as you took when you jumped into a portal.
I know, right?
All right.
Who's
All right.
Okay.
This will be interesting, I'm sure.
All right.
I'm intrigued to see what happens here.
When you all step onto the circle and prepare it, the cat kind of leaps off of your shoulder and kind of moves back over to the table and stares at you as you're doing it. The magic of the teleportation circle, this strange portal, the soul portal, ignites and very quickly fades blue, and then detonates the magic within the circle, causing a beam of light to kind of take you up into it and drop you down somewhere else. It feels very much like you're plucked off of the stone and set somewhere else. And the place you're set is a pretty tight, narrow kind of room. There are books all over the walls. And there appears to be a very strange looking device kind of sitting in a old leather chair. This device looks like a mannequin with kind of a central chassis that's round, but kind of barrel shaped. And there's a glass facade on the front. And on the inside, you can see what looks like a melted, kind of just decayed brain set inside of a greenish fluid connected by copper wires to the exterior of the inside of the barrel.
Right.
What's that? What's that, Sam?
Oh, I don't fucking know. This guy was experimenting, apparently. Look, see if you can find any books on, like, the moon, or giant tentacles coming out of the sky.
Wow.
How is that related to what we're doing?
There appear to be two doors in this chamber, by the way. There's one to the north that looks like it is completely solid steel of an undetermined thickness. And it looks like there are a number of different gearwork mechanisms that have been set upon the facade of this to kind of act as a lock. There's some technique to opening it, but it looks like it hasn't been opened in a very long time. And then there's a door to the south that looks like it would probably be like the opposite side of that kind of door. And the only thing it boasts is a keyhole set upon it. The keyhole, if you kind of give it a gander, Ren, just kind of idly kind of perceiving it, you notice that it's not a straight keyhole. It kind of has this strange serpentine hole. The cavity that the key would basically fill is kind of like a snake shaped, zigzaggy.
Would my thieves' tools be able to help with that?
So it's a lock. It could definitely be. You could attempt to pick it, but it looks like this is just based on the keyhole. It looks like it might be something a bit more advanced than you are used to dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to say, John, like, as soon as we land and I say that crazy things, I start looking through bookshelves.
Okay.
All right. I would yell out at Sam, "Look at the high ones. Let me get the low ones." And then I'd start looking. And just kind of like run over and, just start going real quick.
All right.
Thinking that he knows what he's doing.
Go ahead and make an investigation check. Or you can have Ren roll an investigation check with advantage.
Well, let's do that one.
Let's do that one. Maybe we could do like Ren on the bottom and me on top. You could like put me on your shoulders.
Ren
like,
basically tells you how to search, and you kind of
Yeah.
nod your head and basically allow him to span
Right.
more space in the amount of time allotted.
You're good at money. I'm good at searching.
Make an investigation check with advantage.
Okay, do it, man. You
17.
can do this.
You find a lot of material on the human body. Basically, like a lot of dissectionary guides on anatomy. You find a lot of books, older books. Some of them seem to be written in Dwarvish, if you can speak it. A couple of the titles you're seeing here are the Anaxim, the City of Digram, other strange titles like the Soul Forge, which kind of stands out.
Ooh.
But
Yeah.
it's in Dwarvish. If you don't speak Dwarvish, then you wouldn't know that
I
title.
do not speak Dwarvish.
Sam, do you?
If you give me 10 minutes, I can.
You definitely know that there's a language you don't understand, so you spend a bit of time when he kind of reflects the book to you, saying, "What does this say?" And you can see that a lot of these Dwarvish books have some interesting titles and would require a bit more time to read. Are you looking for anything in particular yourself, Sam?
Yeah, I'm looking for any books that have to do with Umbrio.
Make an investigation check yourself.
27.
As they're kind of searching through the books, Ren kind of comes over to you and like explains the dwarf part, and you're like, okay. And then you spend a couple minutes casting that spell, read the titles, and go, yeah, go ahead and set those out. And then when Ren kind of goes back over to the dwarf books to start collecting and is talking to Gilbert, and he says, yeah, I think those are good. You kind of turn back over your shoulder, and you see a book kind of sitting like dead middle, like not really like, out of the ordinary from the other books. But you can see that the title appears to be written in the common tongue, but it's the word Umbra backwards. And so you kind of collect the book. Do you want to do so without them noticing, or do you want to?
Sam honestly is too preoccupied with his mission to even pay attention if other people are looking at him.
You grab the book down and very furiously kind of open it up and start skimming. And the very first 20 or so pages are star charts, and you are kind of looking at them, like reflexively kind of looking at like the detail in them, very similar to what you gleaned off of Cardiff during your conversation with him, and start kind of pulling through and seeing that there are misinterpretations as well, and it appears that the person who wrote this wrote it hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and you start to see that they're paying attention to the Umbra, like in its movements, and it's basically stating that in the year, let me see what was. I have the notes. Let me get them open. Hold on. 1755 of the Age of Rebirth. 1755. Let me double check. Hold on. Since this is important. 1755. No, that's not it, right? Hold on a second. Sorry. It would be 1852 of the Age of Rebirth. The Dark Star will return and will eclipse Statia, which will eclipse Bicavaria, and the return of Sextor Sul. Which you know is another star in Elvish tradition. So there's the Adar Shinai, which is basically the leap year star. It's seen every 4 years and kind of calculates when the leap cycle enters into play. Sextor Sul is basically the reverse of the Adar Shinai in the Zodiac, the dark of the 13th Zodiac, and is basically represented as the orc god, the god of chaotic evil kind of mentality. And of course, these traditions are quite old. Orcs have proven themselves to be quite sturdy fellows, and most of them are willing to work and willing to advance their education. But in Elvish tradition, obviously, Sextor Sul is the representation of evil, and orcs have been evil in their society for a long time.
Cool. That doesn't forebode ill at all.
It's fine.
That's what you get mostly from the book. The rest of it kind of just details a bit about what they know of Umbra and the generation of Umbra. According to this individual, they say that the Umbra moon was created when Stasia died at the hands of Alanusra during the Age of Gods at the end of the signing of the Covenant of the Ascended. And her soul was left to the astral sea, never to sit amongst the other gods after the rites of the Ascended and the covenants of the Ascended were made pact.
Okay. I would definitely. That book I'm sticking specifically in like my bag.
Okay. As you guys continue searching for any information, you can see that Sam's kind of satisfied with that one book. A couple of other books of interest kind of pop up. And as you guys have been sitting here for a while, you see the blue of the portal flare again, and then you hear a glass tink, 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 as a glass orb with a head inside of it appears from thin air and lands on the stone nearby.
What's that, Sam?
It looks like a head in a glass sphere. I just sort of like walk over,
Looks familiar.
just sort of like, yeah, kick it with my foot. I was going to say, does it look familiar?
Yeah. It does appear to be familiar. Looking at it, you note that it is Talos, the person you identified as Talos.
I would pick it up and basically just once we've got the rest of those books here, just suggest, all right, I think we should be good.
Okay.
And then I'd want to bring those books back to House Kurgaz and now Talos Head.
Okay. Everybody make a perception check before you guys leave.
I'm great at these.
Crit at 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 9.
All right. Andy, you're the only one who gets it. The DC was 25. As he kind of scoops the orb up and kind of like starts moving towards the portal, you kind of look at the orb and then look back at the chassis and look back at the orb, and you realize that glow could probably fit right inside of that center portion with not much effort, if you wanted to. But it does seem like if you open the glass door, it would perfectly fit where the brain is.
I would say, Sam, did you
What?
notice this? Did you notice this? No, head, hole, chassis. Seems like a fit.
Yeah. Maybe. That's something I'd want others here for, though. Just in
So,
case.
let's hold on to the head and we can figure that out later.
Yep, seems like a plan.
Okay, you pop back onto the portal, and you feel like you are picked up and plucked and put back down in the tower. You feel a little lighter though, Sam, and you look down to where you were carrying the orb, and it's no longer present in your hand.
I guess
What?
it'll be back there when we get back.
Maybe.
All right. You guys had.
Wait, do we still have the books?
Yeah, they're fine. They're still with
Okay,
you.
that's good.
Those
They
of
didn't
you
disappear.
who were at the park are arriving back home at about this time, since they did spend a little bit of time, quite a bit of time probably, searching through books, reading books, and the like. So you'd be arriving back home at about this time. Those of you who are still in the tower, what is your next move?
Right, family meeting now.
Like the Brady Bunch.
Right.
If you pop outside of the tower,
Am I Alice?
Marsha.
No, wait. Actually, Vrak would be Alice. He's always cleaning up our shit. You're muted, Zach.
worth it. As you guys pop out, you guys see that they're kind of approaching the gates. Broxgar and Valette, as you're approaching the gates, you do see that another person is kind of walking up to the gates as well. A familiar-looking red-headed gnome named Effie, kind of moving towards the gates, and she goes, "Hey," recognizing Brox.
Effie, it's so good to see you.
Oh my, you've changed. Same voice though. Hi, Brox.
Hey, Effie, I've got something to show you.
Oh yeah?
Hey, it's something you might be a little familiar with. You
Well-
might be able to give me some tips. I got a little project.
Bren sent me a letter and said that you might need some help fixing up the auto carriage. I like to see what
I think you're gonna love this.
All right. Well, let's take a
I'm
look.
just Brox is just like getting excited about tinkering, working on something.
While
Yeah.
he's sitting on the seat with rock pedaling.
Right.
Just take the bike over there where you left the engine.
Yes, man.
So you guys head to the side position, and Sam, you can see that everyone is kind of distracted away. Valette, do you remain with them, or do you go to talk to the rest of the family?
Is the family trying to usher us like over,
I
or
don't
is
know,
it just
I-
sort of?
Sam's trying to usher you over. Yeah. Also, guys, the family. That wouldn't be a terrible team name.
It wouldn't be
You
a
know-
terrible team name.
You know, it'd be better though. The Kurt Gosler family. Think about
Yes, that's
The Kurt
best.
Gosler bunch.
it. Ah.
No,
You'd have to start talking like Tony
The
Soprano
Kurt
then.
Gosler family
The
sounds
fan-
less like a cult than just the family.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
But if Valette sees Sam ushering like people over, it looks like Sam has something to share. I'll go see what it is and come get you if it's important. And I head over to Sam.
Okay. Brack, Broxgar, and Effie continue heading towards the side house, and Valette comes over to you as you're waving her over.
Are they going to be? Are they? What are they doing?
It seems like Ren had asked Effie to come take a look at the engine, and Brox got excited, and they might be doing some mechanical work.
Right. Hold on. You had a dream last night, right?
No,
Points at. You didn't. Points to
No.
Ren. You had a dream last night.
I did.
Points to Gilbert. You had a dream last night.
Yeah, I did.
And those two had a dream last night.
I believe so. Yes,
Yeah, we need to talk about those shit right now.
I will go see if they can come after they give Effie some direction. One moment, and I play errand
Brox.
girl and go.
By this time, you've already got out your tools from your bag, set them out. You see Effie's got she came prepared as well. Brings out like a red metal box, pops it open, and you can see inside some tinkering tools. And you go, oh! And you kind of scoop over to see what she's got, and she kind of looks over at your stuff and she goes, nice. Did the Talnum recommission that stuff, or did you make that all your own?
Most of it's handcrafted. It's just tools I needed for specific jobs.
Same. And she smiles. Brax in the back, arms crossed, just looking buff.
Just waiting for someone to point at something so I can pick it up and put it down.
I see you have the Steam Whistler arc spanner. That's a nice tool. It's the Steam Whistlers. They're a smart bunch, good family.
Indeed. Yeah, and they do a lot of work with the association. So, yeah, all of your stuff looks so finely made. I was just hoping that it'd be, standard issues, so I could see if I couldn't requisition a couple of those pieces, like this here. And she points at a wrench. This seems interesting. It's got like gearwork mechanism for kind of like creating kind of like a firm grip, vice grip, but also kind of like setting a reverse vice, like holding something open.
Well, you're more than welcome to take what you like, Effie. I can always make it a...
Well, that's more than fair. You hear a sound. I believe someone was approaching. The person who was coming to ask them questions if they wanted to.
Brox, it seems Sam wants to have a meeting about dreams.
Oh, that sounds important.
She looks at the situation. She kind of looks at it. She goes, well, I'm not going to be able to mount that block. It's going to be a 2-person job. She kind of looks at Brox with a smile. Or 3, and she kind of looks at Brack.
I can help too.
Fuck Sam. I can be helpful.
She nods. She says, but I can start getting...
Nobody wants to help Sam.
She looks at the bike. She looks at the engine. She looks at everything going on. She says, is the plan to mount that to that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
With a couple modifications, of course.
We're going to need to refix that chain, and obviously we're going to need to start on a mount process. If you need to go talk about dreams or whatever, I can go ahead and start working on the finer detailed stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be back as soon as I can, I promise.
Sure. Tell Ren if he's not involved in your dream talk. I'm in here if he wants to see me.
I'm sure he would love that.
She throws on her goggles and she gets over to work.
All right.
You guys head back to the tower and
Yeah.
Sam, the master of conspiracies. And the newly
Right.
formed
Who the
cult.
hell died and made Sam queen of this family?
I know, right? Sam's taking the charge here.
I mean, just for the time being, I'll relinquish it to... I'll keep it for now.
I felt like you were role-playing Zelda there for a second.
Right.
That was just Matt, though. That was just raw Matt.
That's just raw math.
Yeah, that's what happens when you roll a character that is yourself.
It's the best. It's the best. Anyways, go nuts with the toss.
Right. So we're like, all right. So every one of us last night had a dream, except for Valette.
Yes.
So, like, why did we have these dreams? Like, what's going on? Is there any connecting thread? Like, so I dreamed about, a second moon appearing and tentacles coming out of the sky, which I don't think is a good thing. And then, like, everyone else had a dream that same night, too, about what seems to be unrelated things. As
Weirdly,
far as I can tell.
Throughout this whole conversation, Broxgar, Valette, Broxgar and Vrack and Valette, you would notice that as you guys are kind of standing around in the circle, Lord Kurgosler has a cat on his shoulder.
That's too funny.
This
Henry!
cat's been following me around. It's a sweet cat, though.
Maybe we shouldn't have this conversation with Cat here. Ren's worried about the cat.
I
It's
cast-
allergic to cat hair.
Yeah, don't want to have a conversation near cat hair.
Is there
No,
is there
that's-
a way we can communicate with the cat through magical means to check a story out and make sure it's not some familiar or spy in the guise of Henry?
Or we could
my
just
fucking-
kick the cat out.
No, how about we
But
just
we
leave
can't
the
shut the
cat
door.
outside
That's
and
how we got into
go
a lot of trouble
inside?
last time.
Okay, hold on. Give me 10 minutes. I have a solution. I start casting Rari's telepathic bond.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Give me 3 seconds. I got a faster one. Pulls out his sword.
You see?
No, we can't
What does
kill
the cat
Lord
do? What does the cat do?
Hold on. You see the sword brandish in apparently menace towards the cat. The cat just kind of looks up at you like, meow. Do you kind of hold the blade down towards the cat?
No, not at all. It was more as like a joke. Like
Got
Brack's not gonna
this cat, but it was like, we're gonna sit here for 10 minutes while you fucking talk to this thing in its mind when I could. That was the exaggeration. Pick it up and throw it outside. It's a
I don't think
goddamn
that
cat.
was his plan. I think it was his plan
My
to.
plan was to link us telepathically so that we can talk to each other.
Ah,
That makes more
And-
sense.
And remember, that might be important going forward for any important conversations due to, my situation with my shadow,
Right.
and possibly all of us and our blades.
Very smart. It's a good idea. We'll wait.
So yeah, 10 minutes pass.
Okay. And you link up with the mind link and are now talking in each other's heads. All right, good
who's
role
next?
playing.
What? I know that your dream was of the moon and the Umbra. Mine was of Grun Stonechild and Stonechild Park squaring off versus a priest. What was everyone else's?
I told you it was that lady murdering the baby.
Lady murdering the baby, right?
Oh, right.
Anything specific? Any specific details you can remember about the
Yeah.
lady? Or...
Again, I told you, 2 giant green dragons.
I don't see a connection. Besides that, it all happened on the same.
Don't we normally all have dreams that aren't connected?
Well, but we are connected by the swords. Ren would say that he was visited by the spirit of Byakko, who tried to tell him about shadow and betrayal, which is the sin of the sword. Maybe what you were dreaming about was connected to the sins of your sword somehow?
I know specifically, if we're talking about the Shadow Grun, it was very envious. But that doesn't have anything to do with wrath that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I'm not sure necessarily what moons and a tentacle have to do with lust. Like, seriously, when have tentacles ever had anything to do with lust? Wouldn't make sense at all.
And then they invented anime.
No, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, in this universe, it doesn't exist.
What? Maybe maybe we're just given things about the possibly anti-espers with some of us, because that possibly sounds like things related to the corruptor dam. I recall it was something having to do with a black umbral circle and moons and suns.
Right. Well, I also went on a field trip with Ren and Kurt Gosler over there. Gilbert, that's his name. Found this lovely little book that said something about if I can pull up the right thing of notes.
And while you're doing that, Vlette pulls out her ring, because
Sextor
I realized
Soul.
I knew what it was about.
About the return of Sextor Skull, like some sort of orc deity that's the elves consider evil, and a dream about tentacles coming out of the sky makes you think, evil thing. So could it be like evils that are coming? Because, we do have green dragons in there, and something about this giant statue that seems to have been fighting something.
Vlette, holding out the ring, says, I remembered what that was. It's this. Could what you have dreamed about be what's giving this its last power?
What is this ring? Like, Matt is asking this, not Sam.
It is a ring
What
of
is
wishes
this ring?
with one wish left.
Right.
Real quick.
Or at least that's what was told to Vlette.
No. Sorry. Joe, and Brack. Go ahead, and the two of you make a religion check.
Religion. Do it. Man,
Nice.
good shot.
You got a 20.
It's a minor detail, but when he says Sextor Soul, he kind of says it off, and it's a dwarvish word, not an elvish word, and you basically understand that Sextor Soul is the god of orcs, who was betrothed to Ukamar after Ukamar fled the mountain and stole all of the craftsmanship from Angum. And the two of them bred the orc peoples, who are considered to be cousins to the dwarves. But based on the way he was saying it, it was kind of like different and strange. Like he might have read it wrong.
Could I see the book about this Umbra section?
Yeah, take it out of my bag, toss it over to him.
You flip through the pages and read exactly as it was written, but it's referring to Seixar Sul as if he was the orc god from the Elvish pantheon, not the dwarf pantheon. And in the Elvish pantheon's traditions for the orc god, it's a bit different. The reason why is because Seixar Sul was not called Seixar Sul. It was called Aluane, and Aluane was the orc god who took Kashea Thea from the goddess of nature, from the god of elves, Varquin, and the two, through a union, had the orc child, the first orc child, and the orc race was born from that.
Explain these differences. Very strange.
And the one thing with that high religion check, I guess I want to make sure, and again, I want to do this as sensitively as possible because it is a sensitive topic, is that with the dwarf goddess, Ukamar, it was Ukamar who betrothed Seixar Sul. It was a desired relationship between the two. Whereas with the orc god from the Elvish pantheon, Aluane, Kashea Thea was not as willing a recipient. It was defiling of nature. So to the elves believe that orcs being created are kind of a twisting of the nature of elves, whereas dwarfs believe that greed and self-desires are the reason why orcs exist. So basically the two sins that are kind of represented there should just be more thorough. Oppression for the elves and greed for the dwarves.
Also, I may have missed it, but what did Gilbert and Ren dream about?
Gilbert, you want to go?
You're muted, Kevin.
Kevin.
Sorry, you guys hadn't asked me yet. I had a dream about Raiden Fear, who is my Esperedge, and she's a spirit in my Esperedge, and she was warning me, stating that my power from my Esperedge would be getting stronger, and that I would have to resist, and that I need to pay attention to what she is doing to resist. So yeah, that was interesting.
Right. I'm sorry, I remember yours now, right? Yours was also...
It was related to my Esperedge, and specifically the sin with betrayal. He said, I am deciding to be done with betrayal. I am deciding to sacrifice myself for the greater good. Unlike you, I had no allies to help me. You have others you can rely on, and they must be able to rely upon you.
With both now also Gilbert mentioning his Esperedge, Vlett offers up that, well, while I didn't have a dream, I did talk with Hawk last night. And he basically told me to be ready to rise to the occasion and for the sake of you guys, and be there to assist you.
That sounds like Hawk.
It does.
And that I shouldn't beat myself up too bad for all the screw-ups I've made.
Right. So
Well, maybe.
three of us...
I don't know if that sounds so much like Hawk.
That's so like hot.
Three of us talked to our Esperedges, and three of us dreamed of basically things battling or being imposing.
The cat meows.
You know, to be honest, Sam, the dreams you described, it sounds like what you would probably normally dream anyways.
I normally don't dream.
Now that is strange in and of itself.
No, it's not. You're strange. Shut up. My gosh, Cindy, shut up.
You see the cat kind of mosey on over to the teleportation circle and just kind of sit in the middle. And just kind of flump there adorably.
Valette, like after that, like also sort of walks over to Gilbert and like gets on a knee so they're like face to face, and like puts her hand on one of his shoulders, like, Gilbert, like, if you need help resisting, you can rely on us. We will help you as best we can. I believe you can do this, though.
Thank you. I'm going to try my best.
Also, if you can spare me some diamonds, so worst case, if you do go down, I can bring you up.
Holy shit! You guys,
I will only use it for you.
these are toxic relationships.
I'm
Alright,
your get out of the afterlife free card.
We all have our roles, Gilbert.
I see. You're right. I will see what I can do.
We all have our roles, Bank. I mean,
Yeah.
Gilbert.
Bankroll,
I'll see
big
what I
man.
can do.
Some people make friends with their sense of humor. Some people are good and attractive looking. Other people are rich.
And I mean, that's the only quality about them that we care about.
You guys are great.
It's literally his superpower. I'm just involved in.
I think
I'm
cosmopolitan.
rich.
our party name shouldn't be the family. It should
So-
be Kurgosler and the Mooches. You know,
Like a band.
you're the
name.
Mooches.
I like
We
it.
help you as much as you help us, Gilbert.
I know. You are my friends. It's just.
Your ass would have died like 6 sessions ago without me.
Yeah. The Skyrail fight.
This is true.
Yeah.
The cat's almost kind of looking at you all, like, so what's the plan? Kind of look. It just looks like it's waiting
So,
for either attention
I'm just asking, John.
or something.
Are you looking at your cat and telling us what your cat is doing?
Not the cat that this cat is based on, but I'm looking at a cat and I'm getting that kind of look. Oh, she moved her head. Hold on.
She's not looking at you, she's like, I'm not going
There's-
to pay attention to you.
Not to sidetrack us, but there's still the matter of a few of the evil espers being within our grasp here in the city. Something else to add to the agenda is possibly tracking them.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good idea.
So have you figured out how to work these portal sorcery?
I mean, pretty much.
Where all can you go?
Couple of places, like
Okay, thanks.
15-esque. I'm not sure some of them we want to go, seeing as some of them are like, in the 13 hells. But there's a decent amount. I can also, if you really want, take us to Sayre's shop quickly. Don't know where that one came from, but
It could be useful.
Anything near the Forbidden Grove?
John, at some point, can I get a world map from you?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure where the Forbidden Grove is in relations to some of these places.
So that'll be more of a kingdom map situation. So let me go
It's
back to
fine.
that one up.
Also, do we have any idea where to start looking or researching ways to purify the anti-espers? I would like to try to redeem these blades as well if possible.
All right, where's the Forbidden Grove? Is that the area? Oh, okay,
So-
right there.
Well, no.
I think that's a guess.
If you look at no, not at all. If you look south of there, you'll see Oltania and the kingdom or the duchy of Oltan, the Oltania Rus, and you'll see that
Right.
there's like kind of a lake in the middle of one of the two forests there, and
Yeah.
the grove is
That one.
just southeast of that lake. It's like the triangular portion bottom of that divot there. And then again, for those watching at home, in relation, they are in the city of Rostigar, which is this here, and that's about, what is it? I think it's like. By the way, the eagle flies about 120 miles.
Okay, so this thing says one of them goes to Altania Rus Castle, but it says that one is red.
Yep.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that wasn't a typo. Makes me feel real good about that one.
Indeed. So, yeah. You never went back and picked up the corpse, so.
I didn't think we needed to.
No, I'm just saying you never went to the Otanya Castle, so you don't know its nature.
Yeah. Fair point. I mean, yeah, that's probably the closest one that I can see.
But you say it's a red portal?
It's not much closer
Yeah.
than where we are now, though.
Not much. Not sure why it's red though.
All right. As you guys are kind of sitting there a bit, you hear kind of like a knocking on the door. You see the gnome kind of look over to Brox. Her goggles up in her tousled hair. There's like a lot of soot and kind of grease marks on her hands and on her face. And she kind of looks to Brox and she says, I'm done with my part. I'm going to need some muscles.
Well, I'd love to help. I'll be there. If you guys can come up with anything, just come get me. Nothing's coming to mind.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the brains of this operation from my past blubbers, but I'm gonna help Brox. I can be useful there.
Maybe if I get to work, I'll clear my head.
Don't worry, you two. I'll come up with a good plan for us.
I believe in you.
That's the brains of this operation.
Right. Since we're deconvening, Sam's going to grab the rest of the Dwarvish books and just continually ritually cast comprehend languages until something else comes up and start reading through them.
Dwarvish books are tinkering. What a decision.
What's the cat doing?
Still sitting in the middle of the town or the portal circle, just kind of staring at you all. Every so often, just moving from person to person. If you're looking directly at the cat's looking at you.
If I squat down and hold out a hand, will it come do some bunting?
He's gonna play baseball?
Oh, bunting is when a cat does like this thing.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you go over to in any way show affection to the cat is showing affection to you.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
This kitty is my new best friend.
Oh, Henry.
After a fashion, kind of like receiving
Little kitty brother.
the pets, like it will continue to kind of just nudge against you even after you stop petting the cat. If you walk away from the cat, it kind of just turns around and goes back to its little flump.
I have no intention of walking away from the cat.
That cat is stoked.
Yeah. He's my thinking cat.
Yeah. If you pop down on the ground in like a,
Yeah.
cross-legged sit, like it'll hop up into your lap. Or, sorry, he will hop up into your lap.
I'll do so.
Okay. Yeah. He's very cuddly, very warm, very soft. And very just the cutest cat ever. Little tail is just going.
I'm gonna turn to Ren.
So, Can I keep him?
Not my cat.
Fantastic.
I think that lady might have a problem,
Okay,
though.
brother.
Speaking of which, you haven't seen the old lady in a while.
No.
Irrelevant.
I guess that's fair.
You go upstairs and find her cold, rotting corpse.
Do you go upstairs?
No.
Okay.
I have books to read.
Gilbert, do it.
Yeah, I am kind of wondering what's going on with the woman, so I think I will head over there.
Head on up the steps. Once you get to the
You
top,
want to go find out with him, Henry? And I'm gonna open up like my pack and see if he'll jump in.
doesn't.
Oh, all right, fuck him. I'm gonna go make sure Gilbert doesn't get himself killed.
Yeah, if you get up, he hops down and kind of moves back to the circle center and plops. You guys go up to the top of the steps. When you make it there, the door is quite heavy. It's a door that kind of sits at the top of the stairs, kind of just lays over the, basically like an attic door. Vrak is able to push it open pretty easily. And when you open it up, inside is what appears to be an office, but it's completely just void of anything besides a desk and a chair. Everything else appears to be gone. And sitting on the desk is a note.
I will check out what the note says.
I found a way back home, those who stole my tower from the forest. I'm going to stay there. Do me a favor and just keep an eye on Henry. He's a wild one, and he's a bit rambunctious. Make sure he's well fed, but not too well fed. And I hope you enjoy your travels. Signed. And it's just this strange series of demonic runes.
Great.
And you of course, you hear it in her voice. Yeah, we'll take care of Henry.
Right.
Yeah.
Henry!
Keep an eye on.
Everybody loves Henry.
Make sure he's fed, but no, not too well fed.
Wow. So we have the tower. We can go anywhere we want with it, right?
And we have the cat.
And demonic runes.
And
I know, I'm gonna
as
take those-
Sam exits, he slams the door behind him.
Oh, right.
He doesn't.
Wait, is there a way we can slam the door when we're not in there and then have the tower just disappear?
I hope not. I kind of need it for things.
It's kind of nice for teleportation for sure, but it doesn't look so good in my
It's,
Bringing down the
it's
property
lowering
value.
my real estate value.
Hell
Thank you very
yeah.
much, Matthew. My property taxes are going to go down.
And
And I
ladies
can't
that
afford
live
to have my
next door
friends
do
find
not
out
appreciate
about
that bullshit. That's so not cool to have a
I'd just
tower
like to
up
say, if you want to close the door and make it go away, I can lower the value of property by much more than that can.
Okay, you're right. I like your veiled threat there, which isn't very veiled.
If you want to get
But,
rid of this cool power that I've just
I'll
learned,
burn your man.
I will destroy everything
My
you've
dead
ever
body.
Right.
You know
We
your
may
family? Dead.
We may want to put the tower somewhere else if we find out a way to do that. You know, like maybe we can hide it, somewhere else outside the city. Just a thought. I don't know.
Get off
I'm
my
just
lawn.
By the way, Sam, look at these the weird letter we got from the tower witch. Do you
Oh, Sam's
understand?
already inside the house, like, reading through the book. If you want to hand it to him, I do have comprehend languages up right now.
Yeah, I'd hand it to you. Say, what is this? It's a note from the witch. She's gone.
Does the name make any sense to Sam?
Yeah, it's Megan.
Megan?
Yeah, her name was Megan.
Her name was Megan. Why are you showing me this piece of crap?
You wasted. Or you took the time
yeah.
to cast comprehend languages, and it just reads Megan.
Megan. But how does she spell it? Is it with like a
Demonic
Y
runes.
or a
MEGA666H.
So he's
Megan.
He's more or less, he's
Megan.
more or less
That's
translating
how I'm spelling
the
it.
sound of how it's
Right.
pronounced. He's not
Oh, not
translating
how it's
it
spelled.
too common. basically these demonic runes, when spoken in the infernal language, would basically say Megan. Probably a bit more death metal, more something like Megan, but Megan nonetheless. Maybe a scream, something just
Nice.
awesome, cattail flipping. All right. So
Nice.
what do you do?
All right. So where do we think we need to go first then? We were supposed to go somewhere in the city and find a nest bridge? Is that a real thing? Or did I imagine that?
I don't think we're going anywhere until they fix up that bike there, brother.
She's kind of just staring at you this whole time. Are you gonna come help or not?
Yeah, I'm already on my way. I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right.
I was about to say something. I realized Vlet was already with Brox heading over there.
No insult. No, yeah, you might be able to. Okay, let's go. And if you three go, Valette, I need you to make a strength athletics check, and I need you to make an intelligence-based Tinker's tool check with advantage. Broxgar.
I got a 23.
All right. And
Nice.
Tinker check.
17.
Not bad. All right. So you spent quite a long time working on that device, and I'll go back to the people in the tower. If what you said in the chat there is true. All right. So you guys in the tower, or the house, wherever you went to.
Yeah, I imagine that Sam went into the house for the reading the books.
And at this point, Ren would go to the work area and would want to say hi to Effie.
She's kind of engaged right now. She kind of gives you a look and says, "Hey, boss," and keeps going back to work.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
All right. Gilbert, anything in particular you want to do?
Yes, I have to ask. I have to see Rolf, my gnome ambassador, and say, "Hey, I need to add a thing. I need you to get me."
He's
I
on.
need you
He's
to
on in the house.
Oh, he's gone already.
Yeah, you've been messing around for a couple hours. He's out and doing.
I would leave a note for him where I normally leave notes for him, because obviously there's got to be a place in this house where I leave notes for everybody,
Sure.
And I would leave a note for Rolf, and I would say, I need you to acquire some 300 gold piece value diamonds, at least 2, but as many as you can get. Well, if you could get a handful, get a handful. If not, get 2 at least, and then say, obviously use my funds.
So you're down to what, like 1447 right now?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I have not how much I have.
All right, guys, we gotta get him to spend the rest of that money.
Oh yeah, we're working on it.
I'm looking. Yeah, I'm pretty. I've used a lot. I had 1 diamond, but I believe I used it already.
No, I'm
on
asking you about
somebody.
your funds for your house.
Yeah, but I don't know where. I'm looking, and I don't see where all that is listed. Like, I think I had a certain amount a long time ago.
Yeah, it was in the thousands, but you're spending 1,000 now.
Yeah. Right, to
Right.
get that, so I could scry. Alright, anyways, I'll look and see. I don't know. I'm
Sure.
probably pretty low. I don't see anything written down, so I don't know.
Okay. And then Sam, you're just studying the book. Okay. And then Ren, you're just hanging out with them, and Brack, you're just kind of focused on and thinking about how you can get there as quickly as possible, I'm assuming.
I think if everyone has gone back to the house, when we leave the tower, Vrak's going to leave and try and find a guard to see if he's heard any reports of green dragons in the forest area.
I would say mostly focused on the city, so can't say so. If you're wanting to hear reports from the outside, you may want to head over to, well, I guess what you're talking about, head over to the western side of the city, over in, yeah.
All right, I need to borrow a horse. So then I'm gonna go.
Everyone kind
I'm
of
not
looks.
talking to you. I'm like going back to
Well-
Valette.
Okay, you need to borrow a mechanical horse.
Yeah.
Right. Real quick note, just to make sure that it's been covered, and I want to make sure the canon stays. Live horses are not really a common thing. A lot of them were killed during the Pod
Yeah.
War. Okay.
Yeah, I need a horse or whatever the fuck Gilbert summons, the giant elk or whatever.
Magic horse.
Sure.
Okay.
Unicorn.
James Baxter.
I like it.
Yeah, if you come asking for Valette, Valette allows you to take Robo Pony.
Fantastic. Robo Pony and I are gonna go to the western end of the city and see if there's any reports from the wall.
Okay, so you're going to ride across the city over to Sunspire. This will take the better portion
Yep.
of the afternoon.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss what happens when you come to it. I just want to make sure no one else is doing anything of note in the meantime.
Picking things up, putting things down.
Yeah, you took that job from me.
Flip page, read. Flip page, read.
Okay, so maybe an hour.
I know
or-
something. I know something I'm gonna do. Sorry,
Okay.
John. I
Go
noticed I don't. According to all my records, I only have 200 gold pieces left, so I don't know if I lost my real records or what. So I'm gonna take the wand of what's that called? Wand. It's like it's that wand. What's the wand they use for warlocks? No, it's Wand of the War Mage. Sorry, I'm gonna take that and leave that for Ralph to tell him to sell it. If he can, and tell him it's magical, So it should be very valuable.
Make an intelligence check, because I think this is the third time I've told you before. I'll give you
You've
one
told
last
me
try.
that you can't sell magic, but there has to be a place to sell magic somewhere. Like somebody who's magical. I'll go. But if that's the one you're saying, make an intelligence check for that. I know you can't really sell it, but there has to be somewhere that you could sell it, especially if you're rich. I mean,
know
come
for
on,
those
if
watching
you know
at
how
home,
being
since
rich
this
is.
is the first episode of this arc.
Oh.
Magic of destructive nature, such as one that helps you cast destructive magic, such as the wand he's speaking of. It's a wand of the War Mage, actually.
Yeah,
would
that's
be considered illegal. It is.
Son of a bitch. But I'm rich.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
That's the way it works in the real world, at least.
Anyway,
If you're rich, you can get away with anything.
on the way over to
Sorry, guys.
on the way over to that area, you pass by. This is for Zach. You pass by the center of town, kind of moving in between Bearport, the orange area on the map, and Spellmoth, the green area on the map. And you can see that there's this island kind of set to bridges. And I don't know if you've ever been there before. If you've ever been to the Fallen Tower. I think you were there for a very short time after everybody got out of the pyramid and Ashmedea did her thing. But yeah, you see that it looks like the tower is being erected. It looks like they've got about 7 or so stories of the tower already constructed.
Wow.
Noted.
As you're zipping past, you kind of stop for a second, kind of take a breather, and you see, like in the blink of an eye, an entire section just get built. The stone just rising up from the bottom, or from the top of the pieces beneath it.
Can I take a moment and see what the construction site looks like? Like how many people are there and
Looks like about
like
a dozen and a half mages that appear to be using magic to craft the structure. It seems that they're using a combination of the spell Stone Wall, or Wall of Stone, and a combination of Walls of Force, and then filling it with dwarf stone, which in real life terms is concrete, filling it with dwarf stone and holding it in position for a time as it sets.
got it.
There
I
does
want to move on before continue.
There does appear to be one person in white robes with gold filigree and a massive staff. He seems to be leading the construction efforts of the tower.
Can I get a good look at his face?
He's wearing a mask.
What kind of mask?
kind of like porcelain, no-featured mask with air holes and gold markings about it. It looks very much like Jason's mask, except it doesn't have like a nose feature or anything.
Mhm.
It's just flat.
And I just want to make sure I've got like a good understanding of at least his physical dimensions and that like mask so I can report it back to everyone, but then I want to move on before anyone notices me
Sure.
staring.
About 6 foot tall, from what you can tell from
Yeah.
people moving around. Um, decently well
Built.
muscular body underneath the robes, from what you can see from here. All right, and you continue on back to the house. You guys are kind of waiting. This is about an hour and a half, 2 hours into the time after Vrac left. You could hear kind of like shouts of kind of glee coming from inside the side building. It sounds like they've kind of met a pretty good point, and have got to a pretty happy point in the construction. All of them kind of come out breathing a bit of happy, laughter, and Effie kind of speaks to one of the soldiers on the side and asks them to run into town to get something. Then you hear a loud honking sound of a high-pitched horn coming from the gates, and you see a soldier kind of rush over to the house to find Gilbert. And he says, Master Rolf is requesting access with that auto carriage at the gates. Does he have your permission?
With an auto carriage?
Master Rolf?
Sure.
Yeah, he's in the. It's a lorry, it looks like. He rushes back out, and you see a semi-long lorry auto carriage kind of enter in, hustling, bustling, steam kind of pulsing out the sides. Like a fancy kind of jalopy kind of deal, kind of just trundles into the way there, and then it stops. Rolf pops out the passenger side, and you see the guy who's driving it pop out, rush over to the other side with a clipboard, with a document, and hands it to Rolf. Rolf grabs a hold of it and walks it over to you. He says, "Just sign here, my lord." And you look at it, and it appears to be a document of delivery of an item purchased at the Royal Markets in Alderac. It does not state the parcel, but it does state the weight of the parcel. It appears to weigh somewhere around 500 pounds.
Yes, this is what I think it is. So
Uh-huh.
excellent work.
Yeah,
I would sign it.
purchased it. Apparently, there's an estate sale. Yeah, some noble died recently, and a lot of the items that are on and about his estates are being sold off. We got quite lucky.
Ah, interesting. All right, thank you.
Do you think
I would,
about that for a couple of seconds?
Yeah, who's the latest person who died? Oh yeah, what is a noble's name? That's a good. Why don't I just ask him?
Lord
What noble?
Brant, I believe and the old the guy who's driving the Lord says, "Yeah, it was Lord Brant's estate sale. That's where we just left Lord Brant's house.
Oh shit! What happened to Lord Brant?
He was murdered in his house by some gang members, members of the Kango, I believe."
Those sons of bitches. All right. Thank you for the information.
Yeah, no problem. All signed, all sealed. He walks to the back of the lorry. You see him, open up the two doors, kind of, and you see that he kind of has a mechanism where he cranks, a device, a tiller basically, not a tiller, a windlass. That's the word I wanted. A windlass, and it kind of like conveys the item down, like it's connected so that it conveys it down onto the ground, and then he disconnects the thing and disconnects the windlass, and closes his doors up and drives off. But there is a massive marble basin, what would appear to be kind of like a bird bath.
Yeah, and it has a lot of special meaning to me too, since it was my friend's. So.
Yes, I'm just wondering, are we sure that it was the Kengu that killed them, or like were the stab wounds really low around the hips area? And was there any evidence of like, blue gnomes doing it or? Yeah, just curious.
Just sure.
Seems like you're
No, but
making
they
out.
found green hair at the site. That's it.
That's it.
All right. So I would go and talk to Vrak and say, hey, buddy, do you think you could move something for me?
You're gonna have to go all the way across the city to ask that question there,
Oh, that's
buddy.
right. I'll just leave it where it is till he gets back. So
Fuck you.
you're the strongest one, you know.
Yeah, you hear
gotta
that,
go.
Tim? You hear that? I'm the strongest one.
I would like to point out.
I mean, I guess he doesn't know how to read stat sheets, but
Well, yeah. I was also going
No,
to say
Gilbert does
Which-
not. Gilbert doesn't care.
which
you
isn't-
also do know a wizard who like can move objects with telekinesis.
Yeah.
But we'll wait for Vrak.
And I find it really strange that you're not able to follow like the exact statistics of your compatriots, because
Yeah.
now you can go into the D&D Beyond
I can
extension
look at it.
and
You're
click
right.
it and view his whole character sheet.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
Wow.
But let's see here. Oh, you're the same strength. Maybe that was sexist of me. I don't know. It wasn't intentional.
Or maybe it was robotist.
Yeah. Gotta hate those robots. They may break something. You know how they are. Some
Yeah.
idiot programmed it, so
I mean, your two
Just gonna break
experiences
things.
besides Valette with robots or constructs has been pretty destructive. You guys
that's
remember?
right. I still have this
Tavern Lane?
big forehead bump that his horse kicked me.
Indeed.
So, there's a little bit of that probably in there.
It's no good.
All right, I'm waiting for Vrak. I already said it. That's what I'm doing.
Well, speaking of Rack, you continue to bike over to Sunspire. You make it there at last light. There's still a bit of light about, and you're kind of just looking around, trying to find someone to ask questions of. Go ahead and make me just a charisma check.
$16.
You managed to put on the charm and manage to talk to some folks, and they kind of lead you to where you need to go. There's a barracks, just a small kind of guards barracks at the main exit out of Sunspire, out into the world. And a couple of the guards there kind of look to you. You see that there's a building that has a yellow flag kind of hanging out the side of it. And it looks like inside there's a number of mechanical horses with yellow tabarding on them that have the symbol of Rostagar, the Bear King, upon their side. And it looks like there's some maintenance workers who are kind of going in on the devices and kind of working on these mechanical horses to make sure that they're all fully operational. One of the individuals kind of walks out to you after being asked by a person who kind of led you here, and says, "You're saying you want word on what's going on to the west in the Oltanya Rus?"
If you'd be so kind there, brother.
One of my compatriots just delivered a message to Alderac from the keep out there, the duchy. The Duchess apparently is on her way here. There are reports from forces to the west, northwest, kind of close to the borderlands between Rostagar and Bicavaria, that giants had been sighted, and it appears that the bloody judges, forces that were heading towards the king or the duchy's castle, were detained, and conflict was set upon them by this force of giants, a group of frost giants, it would seem, a bit out of their normal area. And let's see, green dragons sighted near, where was that? Green dragons were sighted near Beggar's Hole and Kuruk. All about the forests there. Yep.
Sounds like an awful lot of activity out there. Any timing on when the Duchess is supposed to be arriving in this here city there, brother?
About 6 day and a half, I'd say. Yeah, not too long now. If her movement is as it's stated, she appears to be moving on horseback, on genuine horseback. Not too many horses in the kingdom, but apparently she has some in her care.
All right. And
You kind of
is there any news of anyone traveling with these green dragons?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
Well, I thank you there for your time there, brother.
No problem.
Turn the fuck around and head back, I guess. I got more than I was expecting.
Okay. As you're making your way back, you ride as hard as you can. It does get dark. Those of you who are back at home, Broxgar and
On my way back, I want to check and make sure, has the tower gained any more levels? Because they were at 7 and I watched them construct an 8th, but they never. They're still not a 9th. Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, make an intelligence check.
16.
Your presumption is that what you're seeing from the outside is them building the exterior level of the level,
Okay.
and then working on the interiors. So it might be the case that those two levels might be connected somehow, based on what you saw. But that said,
Got it.
Effie and Broxgar, the two of you make amazing headway and come to a point where you feel like it's ready to be tested. You kind of look around, and Brock's not around. You don't remember where he went off to when you started the process, but she kind of looks at you and says, "Do you want to give it a test drive?"
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm definitely not big enough to do it. It's definitely not framed for me. You might have a bit of trouble doing it, but yeah, if you want to give it a go,
yeah.
I'd say take it easy on the throttle. Based on what I'm seeing here, this engine was used to carry a pretty massive vehicle, which was capable of holding a lot of folk. I think this thing's gonna fly. Like, it's gonna be really fast.
And does it have a sidecar, John?
It does not.
Okay, because that's something that I'd hoped for.
Yeah, they're currently just trying to.
They're working on it for 1 day, Ren. Calm the fuck down.
I want to jump in and go with them.
The concept of an.
I want it now.
The concept of an auto cycle has never been realized.
Okay.
It may have been thought of before, but this is definitely something that's just now being realized. So, yeah, Broxgar, if you want to give it a try, it's going to be a vehicles land check.
But I'll crash it.
If you do not have vehicles land check, it's going to be a dexterity check. And
I could do that. I could help you.
vehicles land dexterity is going to be the check.
I don't have vehicles land, but obviously I'm high in debt.
And if you
Well,
have a strength of 15 or higher, you're
Nope.
making that check normal. If you do not have that strength capacity, you have this check at disadvantage.
Uh-oh.
well, here goes nothing. Got a 17.
Yeah, you managed to drive it around. You realize that as you're driving across the lawn and kind of moving through the yard, you're tearing the shit out of the grass, throwing up dirt all about. But it seems to be moving.
Donuts.
It seems to be moving on off-road terrain pretty competently.
I mean,
just like the bike.
to be fair, no one cares about the yard.
You do spend a little bit of time on the bike and manage to kind of get an idea of what the speed is. And realize that the only thing that would allow you to kind of measure that speed, and for real, is to get it out on the open road. You also know that you don't technically have an auto carriage license. Do you want to go for it anyway?
Do it. It's not an auto carriage. Do it.
Maybe you could outrun them all.
Well, yeah, maybe just up and down the block one.
Yes.
You kind of slow ride it to the main thoroughfare that kind of sets in the idealist territory to the south, basically where House Archild kind of is placed against there, and kind of get out on the open road and try and get it full speed. You're not wanting to go left or right or anything, and it's late. Not many people are driving around in their auto carriages. Go ahead and give me another dexterity throw.
Oh, I got a 6.
You managed to keep it at the same pace that you were going, but every time you start to kind of try and get it higher, you can feel it just kind of, and you're like, nope, no, 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 no. There's one point where you make it wobble so much that you feel like it's about to lay down, and you just kind of slow it down and kind of like move off to the side of the road and just kind of hesitate, breathe, and then turn. This is where you kind of go, I'm not the one to ride it. Turn it and kind of head back home. You think you might have gotten about 30 miles per hour, but you could feel that that wasn't even close to what this thing can do.
Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely just turn around and go home.
All right. By the time you get back home, you can see that there's a horse kind of approaching as you're kind of wheeling into the front gates. A horse kind of approaching from down the road a bit, heading towards the house.
Burn the witch!
Rock's just smiling ear to ear. It works! It's marvelous! It's so fast. So powerful.
You're gonna have to give me a try there, bearded brother.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know how to drive this thing. I'm gonna kill myself.
Are you guys swapping there at the gates to let him go for the freeway check?
Well, hell yeah.
Okay, Brockar, you hop up on the robot horse, and Brack, you take a hold of the device. Go ahead and make a vehicle's land check or just straight dexterity check. And you kind of ride the horse out to kind of just get to the freeway and kind of watch him do it.
Drive it like you stole it.
You see Brock zip off. And Brack, you kind of hold the line kind of like and maintain it and do just as he struck the throttle on the left, brakes on the right, etc., etc. And you feel like having ridden this bike with your bare legs and powering it, now having the freedom to just use your strength to make it steady as it zips off in speed, it's the most exhilarating feeling you've ever had. And you're pretty sure that this thing tops, like, you're not sure how fast you're going, but Broxcar, as you're watching him do it, you've never seen an auto carriage go as fast. At the end of the road, you have the option to kind of turn onto one of the other thoroughfares or to spin back around and come back at us. What are you going to do, Brad?
I'm gonna spin back around and come straight back at him.
All right. Make one more dexterity check.
Ooh.
All right. As you kind of zip to the end, you kind of turn the bike, and it kind of lays down a bit, kind of scratching across the ground. You kind of feel that this thing is pretty sturdy, having carried the engine block, and you understand that it's going to be fine. So you kind of roll off the side of it. You take about 7 points of damage as you kind of roll off the bike, but you manage to lay it down during like the slow down portion of the turn, instead of going full zip into a lay down. You pick the bike back up, you hop back on, and you continue riding it back to the house. Broxcar, having seen it go as fast as it went, I mean, yeah, you're pretty sure that based on what you were able to track it in the terrain inside of Kurgosler's Manor and also on the road, this thing is all terrain. It's ready to go. It could probably take you anywhere you wanted to go, and probably in half the time.
Very nice. Definitely some room for some modifications, maybe some more seats, some more to weigh it down. So it's so excellent. I mean, I'm definitely going to paint the Blaze Hatchet symbol on it somewhere. That's for sure. So when everybody's
fire streaks on the side.
Yeah.
I feel like the symbol of a Gwesi right in the center, and then like Blaze Hatchets down the side with like some flame decal.
Like an X on each half. Like
yeah.
Nice. Like
oh yeah, that sounds sick.
I want to draw it. Okay.
You have to draw it with Vrack on it and fucking Broxcar in this bike in the front
with his ass, with his gun out. Yeah. Anyways, Vrack, this certainly opens up a lot of freedom to you. But yeah, you bring the bike in. It's dark, and yeah, what do you do?
I'm gonna tell them what that guy told me. Just reiterate, and also that the tower is being rebuilt, and assuming they don't know that.
The conglomerate tower is being rebuilt.
They're already 7 stories up, working on the 8th.
Oh my, they're moving fast. Just the other night there was 2 stories when we were chasing after Grun.
You know, maybe it would be worthwhile and worth our time if we went and helped the bloody judge.
Yes,
It's powerful.
I do believe there are 2 anti-espers currently in the Eltanya Ruse from what we could gather. I don't know how we might purify the blades, but possibly we could at least collect them and safekeep them. I don't know what to do with their wielder, so...
I've got some ideas.
Maybe we could get, like, I've heard of these items that are magical. I've read about them. They have like an extra dimensional space, and you can put stuff in them. Like, maybe we can get one of those, and when we get the espers, we could put them in there so people won't be able to. I don't think you can detect something when it's an extra dimensional space. I don't know. It's a magic thing. Maybe Sam would know the answer to that.
Resist your greed, Gilbert. You don't need a bag of holes.
I'm just saying it would be very practical. And also, Sam, I have these 2 magic items, and I think we need to liquefy them. And I'm thinking, you, with your contacts in the underworld, or I should just say gang contacts, maybe you can sell these and get us some money to buy diamonds, so I could give some to Valette, so she could bring us back from the dead.
So wait a second, Gilbert. What's your problem? Are you having financial issues? Is that what me?
Oh, of course not. I'm totally,
He's out of spell slots.
financially stable right now. I'm totally financial stable. I'm saying this is just extra, like, it's not doing me any good to have a magic item here. So if we could liquefy it,
Liquidate?
So you are lying right
I
now.
mean,
No, I don't know if you want to actually liquefy it. I
Yeah.
think you mean liquidate.
No, real quick. Kurt Gosler make a deception check,
Liquidate
and
it.
Oh boy.
Sam make a insight check.
This is the best moment tonight, by the way.
It's an 11.
Deception. Hell yeah.
Lower than 11. Lower than 11.
Sorry.
I mean,
This
unless
is-
someone wants to give me
Inspiration.
advantage.
Yeah, I have inspiration, so I could use it if I need to. We'll see if I need to. Come on, sorry, my character sheet was not pulled up for some
It's okay.
reason.
No worries.
Damn it! Now it just pulled up a picture. That's not right.
I say because of all of this, he gets lower than an 11.
Oh shit! I could roll in real life. Nope, it's not coming up.
Yeah, he can roll in real life.
I don't know.
Well, what's that? A
Oh,
natural?
guys, it got,
Roll
I
a
got one,
deception
that's
check,
funny.
Kevin.
Yes. Well, Kevin would roll really bad, but my partner might actually roll
Yeah.
decent. He's pulling up now. He's coming up.
I'm pretty sure I could spot Kevin lying easy.
Yeah, I'm not good. I don't play poker or anything like that. I would be bad at that.
That's somebody else.
Come on. What the hell's going on? Oh, here it goes.
7 and 8. 7 and 8.
Deception. 7 and 8. That would suck.
That would be
Man, you
so
guys-
great. I'd
You
love
guys
that.
should totally be on my side here.
Why?
Oh, that is it. Yes.
So
Best moment tonight.
Now, I'm the
If
one
you
who's
are
a conspiracy
watching-
theorist, because I think
Kevin,
Please narrate this.
Kevin just rolled a double 1 on his roll to deceive
that's bullshit.
Sam that he has
I'm gonna roll
financial
again to make sure.
stability.
Inspiration, right?
No,
I roll again and it's 22 and 23.
No,
that's
there's-
crazy.
Why are you rolling again?
Just to see what I'd get, because
Oh,
I
okay.
thought there was something wrong
The
with
double one. That's so beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Snake
That's-
eyes. You can very much tell that Lord Kurgosler is wanting to sell these items because you think that he may have spent down to a bit lower than he is capable of maintaining.
All right. In that case, I just sort of look at him. Right. do we have one of those diamonds on you? Like, do you have a diamond on you right now? If so, let me see it for 1 second. I'll give it right back.
I actually don't have one on me.
Do you have any sort of like precious stone on you?
Not really. I have to say. That's why I
Does
wanted to
anyone
know.
have a precious stone on them or something really quickly?
Nope.
Or is there like a precious is there like a stone or like just a small gem or something in the room, John?
No.
I mean, it's a
Real-
mansion.
Didn't one of us get some kind of stones from something?
That's what I was thinking.
Expensive. They're only like 10 gold each or something.
Yeah, I
like
thought someone got like inexpensive
Garnets
stones
or something.
That was probably you, Sam.
No, I don't have any garnets on my
Oh.
list.
All right, because you have gotten some things before.
I think it was
I
from the
don't-
roper's belly. Who slid open the roper?
Oh, it wasn't me. It was
Yeah, there
Brad.
was something from the roper's belly, so
It was
I
probably
mean,
someone
Brad.
has small garnets,
Okay.
and I just take one of those really quickly, and then. So John, I just picked up a new spell that none of them know, so suddenly there's just a 5-foot.
If you're casting
Area.
fabricate, you can't do it on jewelry.
It's not fabricate. It's
Oh.
an illusion spell.
Oh, okay.
There's suddenly a just pile of gems sitting on the floor of these like garnets sitting on the floor.
Okay. What's the spell?
It's creation.
Oh, okay.
So I just put a pile of the stones like basically in the room with us and go like, you know.
Well, that's useful.
Are these real stones we can use? Real diamonds?
They definitely seem real, yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna insight him.
Yeah. Go ahead and make it.
No, that's not me. That's just you taking a look at them. They seem real.
Oh, okay.
Like
I'm
if you
gonna
pick
ask
them up, they look like garnets.
Are these real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I insight that?
Yeah.
Since he's lying to me,
You can make
probably.
it. We're turning the top. How the table turntables.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn it.
That's for sure.
Does someone have
I rolled a
inspiration for?
26 that time, and you
Oh,
rolled a
never mind.
1.
It wouldn't have mattered with the 25. Wouldn't have mattered, sadly.
Apparently, lying to your party members is not doing too well tonight.
It's not helping us today.
No.
He seems to
But
be lying.
I was lying out of a sense of shame, and he was lying to be an asshole.
That makes it
true.
okay.
It is
That's-
true.
Yeah.
Sounds-
How
I
that
was
even
doing
work?
it for personal reasons.
To keep up
Yeah.
his vanity.
It sounds like
Oh yeah, I gotta keep that vanity up, man.
Literally.
No!
Literally leaning into the sin.
it sounds
I
like
gotta lean into that shit. That's the way I
We're
am.
so sinful.
it would sound like the items in question are not real, or at least there's something off about them.
They're- They're real. They just don't last that long.
Sam answers the
Uh,
question with the staring eyes. Yeah, and if you guys wait around for about 10 minutes, the big pile of garnets just vanishes.
Bummer. All right, I will look for other ways to get money if you're not gonna help Sam.
I mean, technically, so long as we sell them quickly, we can sell a bunch of gems to someone.
That would possibly put business owner out of business. Wouldn't be able to support their.
Shut up, Valette.
It would give us money.
Yeah,
Wants
I agree.
morality shit.
Which is more important, we have money or starving children?
Starving children.
You're
And
strange.
making sure they don't starve.
Someone became a paladin.
Yeah.
Someone's been lawful neutral for a long time and is slowly wanting to become lawful good and hasn't done well at it.
Fair. Anyway,
And someone's an asshole wizard.
obviously that's not going to work.
Sam's not a wizard.
Sure he isn't.
All right.
So, money issues aside, when should we head out to the Altania Rus? And is there a way to do some research beforehand about deeming blades? Or should we just collect them first, figure it out later?
You keep cutting in and out. Tim, move your mic closer to your face.
Oh, sorry. So, money issues aside, how soon before we depart for the Altania Rus? And is there a way we can research how to redeem the blades? Or should we collect them and figure it out later?
I have studied quite a bit. I haven't come across any way to redeem them yet. I could check the academy again before we head. That would take some time.
Longer we wait, the more babies that lady kills.
So should we set out first light tomorrow? And give ourselves the rest of the day?
That's fine.
I suppose.
Brack, you're kind of thinking about it, and the more you kind of think about it, like, you know that the current auto cycle is really, really fast. From what has been kind of thrown out and about, you hear that they're going to try and put sidecars on it. Based on how long it took to build the thing, it might take just about as long to build the sidecar apparatus, and then it would slow the vehicle down, slowing your speed, slowing your ability to get to where you need to go.
Don't change it.
You think about it some more, and you realize that if you put Broxcar in the basket, you could probably be there, and maybe you think you could probably be there in the morning if you wanted to go. Just sitting to these people, listening to everyone just inactively talking about these things that don't matter to you. You know where you need to be.
Yeah. I can very easily wait until they all go to bed to talk to Broxcar when we're both the only two who sleep downstairs.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's okay.
I just...
we lock eyes. You see Broxcar just pull out the travel pack.
Buddy!
So while that's happening and you guys are discussing, it is later in the day. The auto cycle would have been finished late in the evening. So what's the plan for the rest of the night?
I mean, out of curiosity, did Sam find anything else interesting in those dwarven books?
So you learned a lot about constructs, and it looks like a lot of the work that's based here is a lot of the material that you kind of had heard about being the pre-genesis of the Undaunted's creation. This individual, Nimazaran, appears to have been a financier of an individual named Talos Perdix, who is the one who kind of started the process in transforming the elvish magics of the original Undaunted into something a bit more mass producible, and also something that can be utilized to augment humans who are already present. From what you can understand from some of the books, the notes and the margins, and from what you can understand of his designs and places where he's drawn, Talos Perdix appears to have been an amputee, missing his left leg, and basically his apparent life's endeavor was to basically restructure that leg, and then in his later notes, from what you can tell in his penmanship, he basically continued replacing parts of himself that would wither and kind of fall away or become seized with some other malady. He was physically a very unfortunate individual, but mentally very gifted, from what you can tell from his notes. Anything you want to do on your own there, Sam?
No, just wanted to check
Okay.
on the books.
So to be sure, Sam, you kind of continue reading in through the night, thinking about what the next move would be. Gilbert, long day of processing, and you have the stone bowl. brought in by your soldiers. Where do you want it in the house, or do you want it outside?
Wait a minute. Let's clarify that. Didn't Brack bring that in?
No.
Son of a bitch. Everybody's turning on me, you guys. All right, I'll have my soldiers bring it in. They have to follow.
Where do you
me.
want it?
We all just found out you weren't so rich there, buddy.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
they're all
I mean-
leaving.
Also, Gilbert is completely dismissive of Valette and never thought to ask the other 20 strength character in the party to help.
Or ask the person who has telekinesis.
Yeah, seems like a lot of that's falling on your shoulders there, Blue Buddy.
All right, I know who I'm scrying on tonight.
Fair enough. So,
All right, I'll go set it up.
where do you want it? Is what I was asking.
Probably want to mount it on my wall like a big TV, and then
It
put
needs to
water
be
in it.
filled with water.
I know.
So your room.
I'll put it in the corner. Put it in the corner of my room. Yeah.
Okay. And if you ask for it, they will fill it with water, if that's your wish.
All
They
right.
seem confused by the process, and you kind of hear the muttering bird bath in the bedroom. Maybe he's got something going on. I don't know. Then they just kind of have no idea what's going on about.
Some kind of weird bird bath fetish. I don't know.
He's got a
Yeah.
bird bed.
He's the other one says it's probably something about religion. He's a priest.
Yeah. So that's about religion.
Yeah. So
That's
you're doing
right.
that through the evening. Valette, what are you doing in the evening time?
I probably have taken out my religious books and are reading up on the one I'm probably focusing on first is the man who ascended in the deity. The guy was really on like, hey, this is my religion. I would be remiss if I didn't introduce you to it because it sounded interesting.
Averio.
Averio. So I'm reading about Averio.
So Saint Averio, or Zadok Averio, the word Zadok being the Elvish word for saint. Slight different connotation, but the same kind of honorific. This individual was an Aetan, which are it's a human tradition of fighting from a long time ago in Parnak's early times. Aetan fighting is still adhered to. A lot of the tenets in this fighting style are still focused on by Parnak military men, and even just young men and women who are being trained how to defend themselves in day-to-day life. The fighting men were basically the leaders of human tribes who came forward and swore themselves to the elves during the War of Sword and Serpent, Averio being one of the highest of these. And his history, he rose up against the dragon Ashmedea and impaled her chest with his lance and tore out her heart, killing her, presumably, and defeating this dragon and ending the War of Sword and Serpent, allowing for the elves to help mankind build up its civilizations, the first civilizations it had, and then they were treated from the world back into the Feywild. Saint Averio is seen as a protector god, kind of like a defender, a holy, a code of honor, and almost chivalric kind of stylings. And he's also seen as a merciful individual, a merciful god. I would say his domains would probably be war. I have them right here. Hold on. I don't have to guess. One second. Saint Averio's domains are life, protection, and war. He rules over the domain of Noble Barda, which is the defensive bastion of the Fair God's home plane, or the defensive bastion of the Feywild. His priests are known as chaplains, and he is technically not a part of the Fair God's religion, because in their religion they refer to him as Zadok, or Saint Averio, not as a deity, more as a power or an exarch, and humans take up a worship of Averiu as a god of sacrifice, a god of pure mortality, surrendering the ultimate gift that was given to you, your life, for the greater good. And his holy symbol is a cross set inside of a diamond pattern. Okay.
Sweet.
Sam, I covered you already, right? Just reading. And Gilbert, you're covered. Bren, what about you?
Is there any way I could research more about Bianco? Are there any history books that would have?
Not in his library. Not really, no.
Then I really don't know.
I mean, if you want to go out into the city, I mean, you can definitely try.
No, not if it's nighttime.
Okay. You would notice that as everyone's kind of heading out, and Effie's kind of finished, she says goodbye to you, and she heads out.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay. You don't want to follow her? Maybe.
I'm going to follow her, yeah, and I'm going to give her the payment that I mentioned.
Okay. She takes it and she says, I was just heading for drinks. Broxgar seemed reluctant to come with me, but if you're not busy...
Sure, it'd be great to catch up.
Okay. You guys head off to that fancy tap room somewhere around House Archild's that you went to, and a lot of the ne'er-do-wells in the group kind of got you kicked out, if I recall correctly.
Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Sounds about right.
Especially Gilbert.
All right. Broxgar and Brack, you notice that most people are currently occupied with other endeavors.
Ready to do this, brother?
Absolutely. Pack a small amount of emergency tools just in case we need them, but yeah.
Split the party.
And,
You know how I do.
I hop
It's
in the
all
basket.
Zach.
Sam, Gilbert, Villette, probably closely, more so Villette. You hear the roar of an engine outside. You see the light bullseye lantern that's been kind of mounted into the carriage in the front, kind of shining out onto the ground. And you see the bike kind of tear through and head towards the gates. Your soldiers, treating them as guests, open the gates for them. The bike rides off into the night.
Flett finds that odd, without a
Born to Be
word,
Wild is playing in the background.
and goes and informs Sam and Gilbert that they left on the motorcycle without saying anything.
All right.
And is like, did they mention anything to you two?
No.
I would have mentioned to Gilbert before I left with Effie just to let him know.
No. You would have been gone. Ren's not there. Villette.
No, what I'm
Right.
saying is
No,
that I would
I'm
have
sorry.
mentioned
I meant
just
Sam
for
and
the record.
Gilbert.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm interrupting what they're doing to say, hey, they just left on the motorcycle. Did they mention anything?
They did not
Sammy
mention
made it.
anything to me. If they don't get back by morning, I think I have a way I can try to locate them.
So, as you worry Wart inside the house, thinking about what's this all about, Brack and Broxgar, it doesn't take more than a half an hour to get across the city, going full tilt. There's one point where you get a bit worried because you see lights shining down on you from above, and you can see the grapple caps, the lemon caps with grapplers, kind of looking down at you confused, and they try to zip after you to catch up, but they cannot keep up with your speed. You make it out of the city, no problem, riding off through the gates at a slower pace for the gates, just to ensure you don't have any problems with them closing the gates on you, and you ride out into the night. Yeah. I think that's where we're gonna leave this session. And we'll pick up.
That
on
is
there.
pretty awesome, though.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. If you were watching, and I'm gonna go ahead and kill the stream. That was
It has
awesome.
become a buddy movie.
Buddy Cops. Maybe that'll be the name of the next episode.
Buddy movie.
See you next week.